be separate in the record from the two previous statements.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Mr. President, this morning's Washington Post had a front-page story that really troubles me. It's about Vice President Cheney and his attempts to exempt the office of the Vice President of the United States of America from the presidential executive order that establishes a uniform government-wide system for safeguarding classified national security information. The decision by Vice President Cheney to exempt his office from this system for protecting classified information troubles me. It could place national security secrets at risk. It's hard to believe that the Vice President is taking this action, given the history of security breaches involving high-ranking officials in his office. Scooter Libby, the Vice President's former Chief of Staff, has been convicted of several felonies: perjury, obstruction of justice, and false statements. He has been sentenced to prison in part for his role in disclosing the identity of a covert CIA agent and then misrepresenting that fact to a grand jury. And worse, it appears, at least according to these press reports, Vice President Cheney has attempted to block inspection of federal agencies and White House offices to ensure compliance with the security procedures required by the President. According to the National Archives, the agency responsible for conducting the oversight, Vice President Cheney asserted that his office is not, quote, an entity within the executive branch, end of quote, and therefore not subject to the presidential executive orders. The Vice President is arguing that his office is not in the executive branch of government? Hard to imagine the tortured logic that Vice President Cheney is using to avoid the requirements of the law and executive orders. Then he recommended that the executive order be amended to abolish the Information Security Oversight Office. Here is a Vice President who has already been challenged as to the groups that he meets with and the people he consults with in making some of the most important decisions for our country's policy. Here is a Vice President who has sadly misrepresented this war in Iraq over and over again, from the initiation of the war, the existence of weapons of mass destruction, and now is saying that he is not covered by the law when it comes to the disclosure of classified information within his own office. Mr. President, this really is evidence of arrogance of power, and it's unacceptable. The Vice President of the United States and his former Chief of Staff are not above the law. They have to be held to the same high standard of performance as members of Congress and every member of our government. And for the Vice President to believe that he has no responsibility to meet this requirement of the law is, in my mind, a dereliction of duty and responsibility to the people of the United States. And then for him to attempt to abolish the agency that was putting pressure on him to follow the law shows that he has gone entirely too far. Vice President Cheney is not above the law. He is required to follow the law as every American citizen should. This situation and the prosecution of his former Chief of Staff are evidence of an attitude toward governmental responsibility which has to change. I sincerely hope the Vice President will make it clear in the week ahead that he is finally going to comply with these executive orders, that he is going to make sure that we protect classified information moving through his office so that we don't compromise this important intelligence data that keeps America safe. And I yield the floor.